Welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl. Today I'm going to be starting some pansies. I have two types of pansies and some Neirembergia. We are almost at the end of February and oh my gosh, we have went from minus 20 to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Now we're at plus 7, and super sunny, so I'm totally okay with that. I've been pretty excited about getting these seeds started over the last few weeks, and we're just going to keep continuing on starting seeds. So the first one that I'm doing is the Neirembergia, and it is a purple robe, and this is a type of a cup flower. Already put in the divots with my pen to mark the spots that these seeds will be going into. So I've got all of the seeds now, and I'm just going to put a couple in each spot, and I have enough here to do 12 spots, and we'll see if I end up getting that many to be able to put in. So I'm only putting in a couple, and like I say, they're pretty tiny. So who knows how many I'm actually getting in each of the spots. But we'll get this done. So not quite, didn't quite fill up all of them. And then I'm just going to push the dirt over. You only plant these seeds 1/4 of an inch. And then we will move on to the next one. So my next one is the pansy, and it's going to be the Frizzle Sizzle. I thought these were so cute. Frizzle Sizzle. These are ones that I got from Early's, and that is in Saskatoon. These are seeds that once you've planted them, then you have to provide total darkness with these ones here. So I think I'm just going to we'll start with 12 divots, and then we'll see how many we get in here, and then we'll go from there. And I'm just going to put one seed in each. And these are brand new seeds, so the germination rate should be pretty good. Last time I did my last video, I was talking about how my mother-in-law had fell and broke her hip. And she ended up in palliative care, and she actually just passed away. She went into palliative care on the Sunday, and she passed away on the Wednesday. Sorry. Fortunately, she has a son in Vancouver and a daughter in Ontario, and they actually got here Wednesday in the afternoon, and she didn't pass away until that evening. So they were super happy that they got here in time to be able to say goodbye. And we're just so glad that she's not in any pain and she wasn't suffering at all. They made sure that she was comfortable. So that was really good. So that's it for the Frizzle Sizzle. I'm going to make up another tag for this one, just so I know where I'm at as far as that goes. And that'll tell me that that container is good. So I'm going to make some more divots for my other pansy. Also going to show you some of my plants, my seeds, I should say, that I did start. Some of them have sprouted. So I'm super excited about that, and I'll show you what they look like and what some of the implements that I'll be putting in now that they have sprouted, or some of the things that I did once they had sprouted. So these ones are the Mammoth on Fire, and I love that too. That's so pretty. That way, a lot of times I would put a few in each hole and then I'd have to split them up. This way, if I just put one in, there is no splitting up, and then I won't have to up pot them, or I shouldn't have to. You never know, depending on how big they get, I might still have to. So I shouldn't say I won't, because there's a chance that I might. And I think, again, I'm going to have, I think I'm going to have a couple of extras. No, I'm only going to have one extra. So what I'll do is I'll just drop one seed, an extra seed in one of the holes, and then I will cover these up, and we will move these over onto the other side. Okay, so here I have the pansies, and I don't have my lights on this part of the stand, and what I've done is I've just taken a dark tray and covered my pansy seeds here. They just have to be at regular temperature. They do not need a heat mat under them. Here, these are my onions that I have started, and I think they're mostly all onions, and I ended up putting a cover on it. In the back, there's some artichoke seeds that I've put over there. Okay, down here, I have, the only thing I have going on down here are these geraniums sprouts that have started, and these ones were the ones that I had to cover them, put them in darkness, just like I'm doing with my pansies. Now they have sprouted, so then I took the cover off, and now I have them under the lights. So that's exactly what I want to have happen. And that's the same thing that'll happen with the pansies. The only thing with the geraniums, I actually had them on a heat mat down below. Underneath, I have a heat mat going. And so then I've put the Neirembergia beside the geraniums, because in this tray I had the lemongrass. So over here, this is the lemongrass, and I have a little sprout here, one here, and one here. And this is exactly what it did the last time that I grew lemongrass, but then I wasn't able, I don't know what ended up happening, but I wasn't able to keep it going. So once it gets a little bit bigger, I'm going to sprinkle some of the vermiculite around over these plants, and then that will keep the seedlings dry around the stem, and then hopefully I won't have an issue like I did the last time. I just keep trying different things. Then coming over here, I don't know if you can see, but I have some little tiny sprouts of thyme that have come up. And that actually just sprouted, which was funny because it said it would take 14 to 18 days to sprout, and it actually only took 7 days for my thyme to sprout. And then if we come down a little bit further, the only other thing that has sprouted is here. These are my dahlias, and they have sprouted. I've got a couple going in this one, so I can split those. And then there's two there too. I can split those up and put them in their separate pots, and that way then I won't lose any of those. And that's really all that I have that has started to sprout since I planted these seeds. So then another thing, what I do, because I write everything in the book when I planted the seed, I write it in the book, the date that I planted it, and then I write when it has sprouted as well. These pansies that I've just planted up on the top here, it says that they won't sprout for it'll take anywhere from 10 to 20 days for them to sprout. So I'm just gonna, after a few days, I'm gonna check on them and see if any of them have sprouted. And then once they have sprouted, I will take the cover off, put them under the lights as well, and then they'll be good to go. So it's always good to keep track of what you have going on, how they're doing, because you can reference that in your book for future years when you are starting seeds, and what was successful and what worked for you. Another thing I'm going to be doing today is I have to cut some of my microgreens again. They're getting pretty tall, so I'm just going to snip some of these. I am making a tossed salad tonight for dinner, and so I just add these microgreens on top of the salad. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are still here. I think my sister-in-law doesn't leave until Friday, so she still has 5 more days before she is going to be heading back to Ontario. And I mean, right now they're in the middle of trying to figure out a service for my mother-in-law, and I think we have decided that we will do a celebration of life in the summertime. So we're just kind of, them are in the midst of planning all of that. And I think they asked me if they could have it here on our property, because we're going to do it in August. And the garden should look pretty lovely at that time. And so I was pretty impressed that they wanted to have it here. Of course, Jamie's mom always loved coming around and taking a look at my garden every year and seeing what was doing good, and always never surprised when she would say, "Have you started your seeds?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah." I knew it. I knew you would have started your seeds by now. That I just trimmed, those were the pea shoots, and now I'm gonna cut out these sunflower sprouts, and they're really good. You just have your tossed salad, pop them on top of your salad, and then add your dressing to it. This one still has the little sunflower seed shell on it, and this one too. I'm just going to snip that one out. And I got another one here. And I think that is it for today. Besides doing my microgreens, I have copied out this year's plotting out my gardens. This is another great idea. I've been doing this since 2021. So this is my 4th year of plotting out my garden, and this works really great. So I just do each of my beds, and I've done it over the course of the years. This was last year's chart, and I have everything wrote in. I think the only thing I'm missing is my long beds that I did down below. I still have to put those in on this one here. So then I'll go through this chart on what did really well in what areas. Like some plants need less sun, some plants need to be out in the full sun. And so those are the things that you want to be paying attention to. Onion seedlings, I planted those in my raised beds. And then I've been hearing a lot of, plant them in ground. So I'm going to try and put them in my long raised bed, put those in there and see how that does. So it's just different things you want to try differently, what's going to work, what doesn't work. I found that having my peppers in containers on my deck worked out better than having them in my raised beds. Tumbler tomatoes that I have in hanging baskets, I think those ones do good on my deck, but I find that even the bush style tomatoes, I'm going to try some of them out in the raised beds this year and see if I'm more successful with them in the raised beds. So you just kind of want to play with those things and see what works good. And that's another good thing about writing things down on what has developed and what have you had successes with and what you haven't had successes with. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, put a like in there, and if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me. And we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.